This is what I mean about Republicans. Like, it is far more important to them that the opinions that they have espoused be doctrine than it is to get the right answer. There's no attempt here to get the right answer. No attempt here to say, like, here's the counter data. Just, I don't think there's enough data. We're no longer recommending it, despite every study saying that it is safe and it is effective, and statistically, you're better off being vaccinated. Great news, everybody. Great news, everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS secretary, and I'm here today with NIH Director Dr. Jay Bhattacharya and FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary. I couldn't be more pleased to announce that as of today, the COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommended immunization schedule.
Great. So the cool thing is we've removed the COVID vaccine from the CDC recommended schedule. And that's because these very serious doctors have new information that shows that the old recommendation was incorrect and the new recommendation is correct. And they're going to explain that here.
Last year, the Biden administration urged healthy children to get yet another COVID shot despite the lack of any clinical data to support the repeat booster strategy in children.
That ends today. It's common sense and it's good science.
There's no evidence healthy kids need it today, and most countries have stopped recommending it for children.
We're now one step closer to realizing President Trump's promise to make America healthy again.
Great. So there are studies from the Mayo Clinic, from the NIH, from ACIP. There are multiple sources that say the booster shots are safe and effective to prevent COVID-19. And these three folks said there is no evidence. No, there's no evidence that it's not. I understand what we're doing here, but this is silly. This is the silliness of where we're at with RFK Jr. He's just making new rules for the fuck of it. He's like, we're not going to recommend it anymore. Mandatory? No. But the data says that you can look at any study. The data says that you are safer if you are vaccinated, even in children, than if you are unvaccinated. And he doesn't have any counter data to that. He just says, oh, the data that we have is not complete yet, which would be fine. It won't be complete. It won't be complete until COVID is gone, if COVID ever is gone. But now they're just taking it off the recommendation, which is confusing, right? Everybody in here, you should be able to decide whether or not you get vaccinated. I'm a firm believer in that. But if let's just say you're a parent, and let's say that you aren't a political psycho where you like all vaccines are bad. And you just want to know, like, statistically speaking, what's the best thing I should do for my child? And you might think, oh, well, the CDC will tell me. The government will tell me. They've looked at these studies. And you go on, and the government no longer recommends a COVID vaccine for your child. Statistically speaking, your child is better off if they're vaccinated. But because now you're reading it off the CDC, or you Googled it, or you ChatGPT'd it, and you relied on the CDC because you trust that the government would give you the right answer, you now have the wrong answer for COVID vaccines. This is what I mean about Republicans. Like, it is far more important to them that the opinions that they have espoused be doctrine than it is to get the right answer. There's no attempt here to get the right answer. No attempt here to say, like, here's the counter data. Just, I don't think there's enough data. We're no longer recommending it, despite every study saying that it is safe and it is effective, and statistically, you're better off being vaccinated. It's just one more example of this administration being 100% ideologically driven. They are not, like, the trust the science thing. It's crazy how well you guys are able to bastardize all of that, and how you're able to just, like, fuck up all of that. You guys said trust the science, and then the science said that it wasn't effective. No. We said trust the science when the science was incomplete, and the science is still incomplete. But that's how science works. It's incomplete, almost always. And so we're going to trust the best available data at all times. That's just good advice. That's just good life advice. That's not political. You should trust data over your feelings. And the Republican side of this is trust your feelings over your data. And in order to do this, we're going to fill the White House full of people who trust their guts. And again, this is a prediction that I'm almost certain will come true, that RFK Jr. and anti-vax litigators will use RFK's actions as head of HHS And they will use that and they'll say, look, we now get to sue vaccine manufacturers, or we get to sue the United States government. We get to sue them because of rules that were put in place by the Biden administration. And they will. You are now going to see lawsuits coming forward, and it will cost us, the taxpayer, millions of dollars to fight that. And the Republicans will sit there and celebrate it and then be like, what about waste, fraud, and abuse? They just have created, because the government gets to be a good source in a court case, they'll now say, look, even our government is saying that this shouldn't be recommended. I also looked for examples of other countries who are no longer recommending the COVID vaccine. The ones I could find, and it was a quick search, the ones I could find, basically COVID has been eliminated from their country. Because they are so highly vaccinated, COVID basically no longer exists. And so they're saying, like, we don't recommend that you have this now because the likelihood of you even getting COVID is very small. And so the impact, because there are vaccine injuries and there are vaccine side effects, they're basically saying now the science is saying because you're not likely to get COVID, that you're more likely to be injured by the vaccine than COVID. Therefore, we're not going to recommend it anymore. But that's not the data that RFK is providing. In fact, they've provided no data on any of that. And if I was a Republican, I would just say, you've waited all this time. You've waited all this time for the things that we called conspiracy theories that you told us we would find out the truth of. And now we're at the time where you get to tell us the truth. And instead of telling us the truth, the people in office are just like, it's the truth now. And that's it. And that's good enough for you. They haven't provided new data. They're just like, it's the truth now. That's why I'm concerned. That's why I think this government is a fucking joke.